All right, like I said again, today is Wednesday, the 3rd of December 2025. We got through our analysis from the fundamental perspective, then we'll go to the charts to get the technical version of the analysis. All right, so on the fundamental, by 8:30 a.m. this morning, there will be CPI from Switzerland. That's the CHF will be impacted. We'll check a couple of CHF pairs to see how they are likely to react to this news. And by 2:15 p.m., there'll be ADP non-farm employment change. 2:30 p.m., there'll be ECB President Lagarde, that's the European Central Bank President Lagarde will give a speech by 2:30 p.m. And 4 p.m., there'll be ISM Services PMI. 4:30 p.m. again, there'll be Euro ECB President Lagarde speech. And later 8:30 tonight, President Trump will give a speech. All right. So the ones we need to that are tradable, we have the CPI from Switzerland by 8:30 a.m., the ADP non-farm employment change by 2:15 p.m., and the ISM service PMI by 4 p.m. These are the only tradable news. Other ones are speeches, and I will advise as much as possible to be very cautious in the market around the period when the speeches will be made. Preferably, if you can stay out of the market, that will be safer. So we just concern more about the dollar and the Switzerland franc. All right, let's go over to the charts and see what the technical is saying. Good morning, Mr. Moses. Good morning, Mr. Biodun and Madam Monachi. Good morning to you all. All right, so I'll flip over now to the charts. Okay, so for the CHF, I'll be looking at the CAT CHF. That's the instrument I'll be looking at to trade. So if you want to trade the news on CHF, that's Switzerland by 8:30 a.m. this morning, please pay a lot of attention to the CAT CHF. Now, I've not analyzed this instrument in a very long while because there really was no setup on it, but then I found one this time around. So for the CAT CHF, price is trending downwards uh on the daily time frame. We have an overall, bearish movement. That's a bearish trend rather, and we equally have a resistance, zone right here and a rejection candle. Now we have a confluence here. The trend line, the resistance, the rejection candle, everything is pointing towards a downtrend on the CAD CHF. So we switch over to the 4-hour time frame, and this is what we have. So at the confluence point, we have a rising wedge, which is also expected to trigger a downward movement. Currently, price is below the lower trend line. RSI is just a little below 50, but we are not really looking much at that. Now, this is going to be my analysis for this news. If the data comes out good for the Switzerland franc, then that will lead to a bearish movement on the CAD CHF, and that's the outcome we're looking out for. So by 8:30 this morning, that's roughly an hour and some 7 minutes from now, if the data comes out in such a way that the actual is less than forecast or a red, then you are free to take a sell on the CAD CHF. Let me quickly go back to the Forex Factory so that I can show us. So this is what I'm saying by where you can trade this 8:30 a.m. The forecast is minus 0.1%. If the actual comes out as, sorry, let me try to check. Okay, if it comes out as actual greater than forecast, that is, it comes out as a green data. Now, the reason why we're looking for an actual greater than forecast here is because the CHF, is the quote currency in this instance. So if the data comes out good, actual greater comes out good, then that is what will lead to a sell on the CAD CHF. So if the data comes out good for the Switzerland franc, and that means it's going to come out with a color green. If it comes out with a color green, then you are free to take, you know, a sell trade on the CAD CHF. So we're bearish on the CAD CHF, provided the data comes out as actual. We had a little network glitch and I'm back. So what I was saying is that if the data comes out as actual greater than forecast, then we'll be looking at taking a sell on the CAD CHF by 8:30. That is exactly an hour, 5 minutes from now. So let's take note of that particular instrument. All right, so let's move on. And peradventure you missed the trade. Now the setup here is a swing. Peradventure you missed the news. It's still nothing to worry about. If what is important is the data coming out as actual greater than forecast, even if you miss the initial 8:30 on the spot, if that is the data that comes out actual greater than forecast, you can still go ahead even 5 minutes after to enter and sell, because this is going to be a swing setup. Price is expected, to really move downwards, and um, price at least over time may target this this support zone. I see it coming as low as this support zone here, and that means overall we're looking at something like, okay, not casting chair doesn't move too much, just about 30 34 pips, which is not bad. In extreme cases, or extreme case rather, pardon me, in extreme case, if we're using the Fibonacci tool, because it's a swing setup, don't forget we're picking the old setup from the daily time frame, so it might really, have some reasonable movement over time. It's expected to target Fibonacci 38.2 at about, let's just say, the roughly like 20 pips there. Fibonacci 50 can give as much as about 40 pips, and 61.8 Fibonacci can give as much as about some 55 to 60 pips. So that's a range of movement on this particular instrument. But on the safe note, if you are just trading the news, just capture some 10, 15 pips and you're out. But if you want to leave for swing, let it just run. But most importantly, make sure the data is actual, greater than forecast. That is a green. That's what will lead to a sell on the card CHF. All right, so that's with the CHF news. Emmanuel Agbo, you're asking the question. You said if actual is greater than means buy. Now, on a normal day, if actual is greater than forecast, we buy. If actual is less than forecast, we sell. That is if the currency that we're trading is the base currency. If the currency where the news will be released from, if it's the base currency. For example, now, if the news is coming from United States and actual is greater than forecast, we buy, because if the news is from, precisely if it's from, if you are trading USD JPY, USD CHF, USD CAD, and the data is from the US and actually greater than forecast, yes, we'll buy. But then on the other hand too, if the currency we're trading is Euro USD, for example, if the actual comes out greater than the forecast, we cannot buy Euro USD. We have to sell. Reason is because the dollar in the Euro USD, the dollar is a quote currency, not the base currency. We will buy USD JPY, but we will sell USD CHF if it actually comes out greater than forecast. Because from the USD JPY, USD CHF, the dollar is a base currency. But for Euro USD, the dollar is a quote currency. Now for this CHF also, now the only CHF pair where the CHF is the base currency is actually the CHF JPY. But that is not the instrument we're looking at, for this particular data, So the other CHF pair now is a CAD CHF. So if the data comes out greater than the forecast, if it is a CHF JPY, we will buy. But since it's CAD CHF, we are going to sell, because for the CHF JPY, the CHF is the base currency. For the CAD CHF, the CHF is a quote currency. It looks twisted, but that's just the way it is. But if you are confused, you are new to trading, you're confused, just don't bother, just stay out. But for those who are like intermediate and understand these things, yes, go ahead and trade it. And like I said, even if you miss the exact timing of the news, the setup on that instrument is a swing setup. That can happen is I wait for the next 4 hour candle and be sure that the last candle is a bearish candle, and you still trigger a sell. Either ways, you still win. So, but overall, either news or even technical, I'm bearish on that card CHF. All right, let's proceed. And just like we're bearish on the card CHF, I'm also looking at another card instrument today. I posted this in our groups yesterday, and that's the card JPY. Now, card JPY is having a symmetrical triangle on the 4 hour time frame. Usually, the way symmetrical triangles work is this: if price breaks out above the recent high, it means we're buying. So if price breaks out above this highest candle there, means we're placing a buy trade. And if it breaks out, now this one, it might break out earlier on this one. It doesn't have to touch this. If it breaks out on the right, on the lower side, it means we're selling. So wherever the breakout happens, but currently price is still trading within the symmetrical triangle. But just watch out in the course of the day. If a new candle breaks out, if it breaks out to the lower side, you sell, as in a new candle completely outside of the trend line, it means you sell. And at the same time, also, if a new candle breaks out on the upper side, completely outside of the upper trend line, it means we buy. So this can be dual. So just watch out for where precisely the breakout will happen. Now, since it's a 4 hour time frame, that means that you check the chart every 4 hour. So the next 4 hour candle will be like 10 a.m. thereabout, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., like that. So just watch it. So that's it on the card JPY. And also, I'm watching the NZD JPY closely today also. Now, this is the NZD JPY. Now, this instrument on the weekly time frame, price is trading at a resistance zone or resistance level on the weekly time frame. You can see here we have a resistance here, and last week candle closed on that resistance level, and this week is already, touching that resistance zone also. This is the daily time frame, and in the last couple of days, there has been a range. Price has not broken out above, just ranging 1, 2, 3, 4. The last 4 to 5 days, price has been ranging. Now, if it's unable to break out above, technically, what we should be expecting is, a reversal in price, because it means price could not break above that resistance. Now, on the 4 hour, I'm seeing price is clearly trying to form. Okay, sorry, I didn't draw that well. Price is trying to form something that may look like a double. All right, so apologies for the little network glitch, but I'm back. All right, so as I was saying, price is trying to form what is looking like a double top pattern, which may trigger, a bearish movement. Now, before the big picture of the bearish takes place, currently I'm seeing a Tuesday top reversal candlestick pattern is forming. If by the next 4 hour candle price closes with this particular candlestick formation, that's an indication that we should expect, some bearish movement. So we can go lower to like 1 hour. Please don't forget the condition is if the candle closes in the current pattern. If it changes, that may become invalid. But let's just assume it's going to close with the current formation in the next 4 hours, 4 hour candle, which is like 10 a.m. this morning. All right, so I'm flipping down to 15 minutes time frame. We can't really, okay, can still manage this other side. All right, so we can see we are having a rising wave pattern also, and this also on the 15 minutes, is a double top pattern which has triggered a slight bullish movement. So if the new candle opens below this lower trend line with your RSI, okay, RSI is already below 50. Oh, this is good. We might want to wait for MACD to cross below zero at the breakout. If that happens, now on a intraday level, you can still trigger a sell if a new candle opens below, this lower trend line, like I've said. And that's for NZD-JPY. That's before we have the swing, double top. Before the swing double top, we can have some early movement. And the first level here, 5 pips is too small. You may want to target on 14 pips to Fibonacci 50 and about 20 pips to Fibonacci 61.84. And, early pips grabbing. So please put attention on the NZD JPY on the 15 minutes time frame for intraday. Please take note for intraday, entry. But then if you want to trade it as a swing trader, Perfect. Now that will mean you want to exercise some patience to see that price trends downward first, hits the neckline, and breaks out below the lower trend line. In essence, what I'm saying is this: price completes the double top, which is like a letter M, hit the neckline, then you're trading the breakout downwards. Yeah, and for that one, price may target the next support zone, which is somewhere around here. And for that swing breakout, we'll have price move to the tune of about 160 pips thereabouts. But that's purely for swing traders. So if you know swing is not your thing, no problem. Just watch out for that 15 minutes time frame, which could trigger any time from now. So for NZDJPY, we have an entry on 15 minutes and for intraday, and we have a proposed one for 4 hour, which is the swing. But overall, we're bearish on the NZDJPY. All right, let's make some progress. Now, these two instruments I've analyzed are actually my high probability setup for today. I'll add one more, and I think we should end there. That's Euro AUD. All right, so this is Euro AUD. Now, on the daily time frame, the market is in an price is in an uptrend. You can see an overall uptrend movement on the Euro AUD. And sometime yesterday, price closed as a rejection candle, which gave rise to some slight bullish movement, but then there's this reversal bearish, you know, uh, rejection candle that formed again. But what is important at this point is that price is trading around this trend line, from where we expect a bounce to the upside, except if price now breaks invalidated by breaking out below the lower trend line. But the first point of call is to look out for a trend continuation. That's what we are supposed to look out for. We say the trend is your friend. We follow the trend. When the market is in an uptrend, we look at opportunities to buy. When it's in a downtrend, we look at an opportunity to sell. But here, the overall trend here is bullish. So that's what we're placing our emphasis on at the moment. All right. So we have a minor support zone here, which should encourage that bullish movement. So we'll go down to 1 hour first. We're not having a clear-cut trend line, but let's manage what we can see here. And the second one at the back to give us a falling wedge pattern. Still manage it here. So if price reverses and breaks out above this trend line, we'll look at placing a buy on the Euro AUD. Don't forget RSI should be clearly above 50 when it happens, and possibly MACD above 0. So we're bullish on the Euro AUD. Okay, so that'll be all from my end this morning. I've analyzed 4 instruments for us. Firstly, for the CAD CHF, I said I'm bearish, and that's with the outlook that the data from Switzerland, which is the CPI, will come out good, for the currency that is actual greater than forecast, so that we can sell the CAD CHF. And I said, even if you miss out, maybe for one reason or the other, you can't trade exactly 8:30. There's nothing to worry. Relax. If you're a swing trader, wait for the next 4 hour candle. If the last candle is bearish and RSI is below 50, at the beginning of the next 4 hour candle, you are still safe to trigger a sell because it's a swing setup on the CAD CHF. Then for the CAD JPY, we're having a symmetrical triangle pattern where price could break out on either side. So watch out for the breakout. Whichever direction the breakout happens, take your trade in that direction. For NZDJPY, we're having the formation of what is looking like a double top on the 4-hour time frame, and we're seeing the potential for a bearish movement first on the 15 minutes, which can happen anytime. So watch out for that. And if you want to wait for the big picture, which is the price breaking out below the neckline on the 4-hour, with patience, wait for that to break out. But overall, we're bearish on the NZD JPY. And finally, the Euro AUD, I'm bullish on the 1 hour for the Euro AUD. Okay, so that'll be all from my end this morning. Seeing someone dropping something on gold, so we check that briefly. Now, this setup I've given there, the high probability. Any other one after this, is just as it goes. It depends on market condition. Okay, for gold, yesterday we looked for a bearish breakout on gold because price hit a resistance on the daily time frame the previous day. All right, so price closed as a rejection candle the previous day, and yesterday we saw some bearish movement on gold after price broke out below the lower trend line. All right, so we can see there was a breakout, a retest, a further breakout, a retest again. Well, might be expecting two things could happen from here. Price could still break out downwards, or a slight bearish movement further and a breakout to the upside, because this is looking a lot like an inverse head and shoulder pattern that is trying to form at the moment. It may either break out to the upside or to the downside. So my view about gold is this. I'm looking at this whole region as a range. So if price breaks out to the lower side here, it will be a sell, and if it breaks out above, it will be a buy. So that's my view on gold. So if it's to break out to the upside, that means this is what it's going to look like. It will complete this inverse head and shoulder and break out to the upside. That is if it's going to be a bullish breakout. But if it's going to be a bearish one, that means price is trying to follow what the trend line is saying here. It's trying to follow the trend line and have a breakout, a continuation to the downside. So that's my view on gold. So just watch out for where the breakout happens. To the upside, we buy. To the downside, you sell. Euro USD. You're welcome, Kinancy peeps. Good morning, Kinancy. Good morning, Madam Funke. Now, we expected a bearish movement on Euro USD yesterday, but then price seems not to be going so much in that direction at the moment. I was seeing a head and shoulder and a breakout, but then, it pushed again to the upside. It's within the overall trend still remains bearish. So it now depends on the market condition and possibly the fundamentals today. Because if we take it to the daily time frame, you can see we have an overall bearish trend from yesterday. But the current daily candle, seems to be invalidating that trend line. We are having a clear-cut scenario of a resistance. This is purely a resistance now. We have to remove the trend line. Trend line has been invalidated. Or let me check again. But the trend line is invalidated. It's not working anymore. It's not touching this current candle anymore. Okay, except you want to look it from, okay, maybe from this other angle. Okay, I think it's still valid. It's still valid. It's still valid. All right. So we still have a downtrend, a resistance, and a rising wedge. So we should still expect a a further bearish breaker. But well, it's a 50-50 thing because the best of it will have been after the close of this rejection candle. That's from yesterday. Well, yesterday we still had a bullish candle. Today is still bullish. So let's just watch. That's why I said that this other setup, they are not high probability, but you know, I can tell it's a 50-50. It may work. So taking it down to 1 hour time frame, we may still expect a bearish breakout. On this one, just wait for price to clearly break out below the lower trend line. RSI below 50, MACD below zero. So we're still bearish on the Euro USD. AUDJPY, Mr. Hamid. So for AUDJPY, you can see I'm watching this is a rising wedge pattern on the 4 hour time frame. Okay, it's a rising wedge and there is prices in between a previous support turned resistance. It should be the daily time frame. All right. So we have a support on resistance, a rising wedge on the 4 hour time frame. We're going to be waiting for a breakout to the downside. This is to the downside. That's the, entry will be closed when price breaks out below the lower trend line. That's on the swing version. But then because of that resistance we are seeing, a support on resistance, we can still go to 1 hour to look out for an early entry. Okay, let me still go down to 15 minutes. So if a new candle breaks out below this low, you can trigger a sell first, and uh, that can give you as much as some 20 pips. Yeah, about 20 pips of Fibonacci 38.2 and about 30 pips of Fibonacci 50. So it depends on your choice of style of trading. If you're a day trader, please watch the 15 minutes time frame for the early breakout. And if you're a swing trader, then you'll be looking at the bigger picture, the breakout on the 4 hour. But overall, we're bearish on the AUDJPY. I hope that answers Mr. Amit Imoleri. Pardon me if I didn't pronounce your name too well. All right, I think I've answered all the questions here. Attended to all the requests. So we'll end the analysis here. Now, don't forget to join us by 12:30 p.m. this afternoon for the afternoon analysis. And later today by 4 p.m., we're going to be having our online class. Do join us for all these events. All right, take care and have a great day ahead. Bye. Mr. Nelson, you're welcome.